What is up? Man, this thing's got a delay. Good morning, good morning. See, y'all already got started. Um, yeah, nonsense, I guess. Hey, this is an election season, man. There's a lot of important things going on that I'm trying to address, like immigration. I don't know why, but God put it in my heart to talk about this today. But I hope y'all can hear me all right. I keep having to adjust this thing. I'm going to end up having to take this computer and trade it in because it's broke. So what I wanted to get into was about immigration. So let's see if I can put all these thoughts together, because this is a lot bigger topic than most politicians and media talking heads want to consider. I mean, it is a big topic. So first off, I'm going to address the wall, right? Why the wall won't work and why it's just a really stupid idea and why it will actually probably cause more harm than good, and why most walls that have been put up on borders have been taken down, if possible. The Great Wall of China goes through the middle of nowhere. That's the only reason it hasn't been taken down. So otherwise, most of them just get taken down. The reason is because, for one, they cause an ecological hazard. They cause hazards to animals and stuff like that. And then they don't really work. Most people don't sneak into the country illegally. It just doesn't happen that way. I mean, they can walk up to the border and request amnesty and become a political refugee or whatever. That's one way to do it. Or they get a visa and they come over here, and then because the visa process is so complicated and expensive, their visas expire and they overstay their visas. So that's how most immigrants, illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, end up here in the country, is they overstay their visas. Now, in any of those contexts, the wall absolutely does not work. The only thing a wall would actually protect you from is an invasion. And I'm pretty sure that Mexico is not going to invade us. There's actually been a study out there, or I would say like a little experiment, that said what would happen if the entire world were to turn on the United States. And like in most cases, the United States would win. The fact is that we just spend massive. We spend as much money on our military, I think, as the top 6 countries below us, including China and all of them. So, but just massive military spending, this massive military industrial complex. So invasion isn't really the problem either, even though that would be one good use for a wall to protect from invasion. So do walls work? Yeah, I mean, if you run, you hit a wall, but that's not going to stop immigration. It's not even going to help immigration. All it does is really make our country look ugly. So, so that's the deal with the wall. But a lot of libertarians, of course, the left talks about it a lot also, and libertarians are big proponents of open borders. Just a wide open border, no immigration, no checkpoint, no nothing, right? Just come on in. It used to be that way when our economy was growing more than ever. When our economy was at our highest point, when it was actually, I want to say at highest point, when it was at its fastest movement, right? When it was growing the most, was when we had open borders. I mean, there pretty much was not any real checks as you come across the border. We really didn't have that until the early 1900s, I think. I mean, when my grandfather came over here, he was undocumented. He just got off the boat at Ellis Island. They gave him some papers, stamped them, and he went to work, or he attempted to go to work. But the reason why open borders won't work now is because, for one, we have way too many underlying problems that are happening. For one, which I don't ever hear anybody put this together with immigration, is the war on drugs. So what is the main reason why people sneak across the border? Okay, if it wasn't such an insane process in order to come over here legally and go to work, if you're a law-abiding citizen, right? So if you're a law-abiding citizen of Mexico, you just want to come over here for better opportunities, to find work, to support your family, just like every American wants to do. Um, what would be your, the insane process? I'm not talking about those people, right? I'm just saying the only reason to come here illegally or to sneak across the border illegally would be to smuggle drugs or for human trafficking. And human trafficking usually deals with the sex trade. So those are the two main reasons why you would come across the border illegally. So if you ended the war on drugs, then drugs, you could obtain them legally somewhere, somehow. I don't know how that system works, but that's for smarter people than me to figure out. But then you would end the drug trade in South American countries, and the cartels would either have to go legitimate or they would have to find some other way to make money. But either way, you've taken a big, huge chunk out of the corruption problem that's happening in those countries, which would make those countries' economies get better, especially if the cartels had to go legit, because then they would hire people and it would boost their economies and stuff. So then you would have less people leaving those countries, because you would actually make those countries better by ending the war on drugs and ending the war on prostitution too. So those things would make the places that they're leaving actually look better. So there would be less people actually wanting to come here. So the other reason is the welfare state, but I mean that's you would have to end the welfare state. I think that should be done anyways. The only that's kind of why somebody asked me the other day on Twitter, I think, about how I felt about the reverse income tax. And as far as replacing the welfare state with a reverse income tax, I think it's a great idea, with the eventual goal of eliminating the reverse income tax also, because as with any government program, it ends up getting exploded and blown up, and so if you said it and then didn't make it bigger, because then you would have people, well, I'm going to make the income tax this, and that would be the political arguments and stuff, and then it would just get out of control, and it would end up being similar to like a universal basic income. So that's what we'd want to try to avoid with that. But if you end the welfare state or do a reverse income tax, then you wouldn't have to worry about immigrants coming over. But most immigrants can't get on welfare anyways. You have to be a citizen to get welfare. I don't know where this idea ever came from. I mean, yeah, they can use emergency services, like if they get in a car crash, if an illegal immigrant gets in a car crash or has a heart attack, then they'll rush them to the emergency room. They can use emergency services, and their kids can go to public schools. If you ended the public school system, like libertarians want to do, then the illegal immigrants could pay for private school like everybody else. So that wouldn't really matter either. So they're not really abusing the system in that way either, or causing any harm or force or taking anything from anybody else, which is what libertarians are all about. The non-aggression principle: don't take from me, don't hurt people, and don't take their stuff. So that would be significant also. I want to make sure I'm covering all this stuff. Cover all the stuff about immigration. The fact is the politician used the immigration topic as another fear topic. I live 10, 12 miles from the border. I mean, I live in a Mexican community. I mean, really, it is. El Paso is more Mexico than it is United States, and we're part of Texas. But I mean, this is a Mexican community that we live in here. We got Fort Bliss, and that adds a lot of diversity to El Paso. But I tell you, it's I think one of the things is when the thing you hear a lot is, oh, they're going to come take our jobs. That's fear. You're afraid that you can't compete against immigrants for your jobs. And the fact is that the economy itself, free market economy, if we would start working our way back towards a free market economy, another libertarian principle, we could, the economy would just absorb as many immigrants as that wanted to come in through innovations and through expanded work and stuff like that. I mean, it's just our economy grew best when we had more open immigration. It's almost a parallel. The more immigrants we got, the bigger our economy grew. You know, it wasn't until, our economy is stifled right now. It barely grows, even though they like to talk about, the economy is doing this so good, so bad. It is nothing compared to the way it was in the late 1800s and early 1900s before they stifled immigration. And the fact is that we are not growing population-wise. Kids are not having babies. They don't want to have kids. Like my kid, 24 years old, don't want to have a kid. I ain't having no grandbabies. They just don't want to have kids. So our population inside the country isn't growing at all. And without population growth, you don't have economic growth. So where else do you get that population from? Immigration. So if you stifle immigration and you don't have any population growth, your economy is guaranteed to get stifled or drop or get worse. So and it's just a law. It's just natural how it happens. So the fear of immigration is irritating. And I wish they would start. Like I said, there's like so many details. Ending the war on drugs is really a significant part of this. Because if you think about it, all that corruption and stuff that happens in those countries, the beautiful countries in South America that could have robust economies and gross domestic products and import and export, but are just stifled by all of this corruption and stuff, by cartels and violence and everything, all revolving around the war on drugs. More people die because drugs are illegal than would ever die if they were made legal. Guarantee it. It's a fact. I think there's like 750 people die a year or something from drug overdoses or something insane. That's a really small amount compared to how many die in violence and gang violence, and whether it's gang violence in other countries or in the United States due to the war on drugs or the fact that drugs are illegal. It's just, and it all ties together. And the same thing with prostitution. What kind of a hit would you take on human trafficking if prostitution was just made legal? I'm not saying it would get rid of human trafficking. It definitely wouldn't. But it would definitely take a serious hit. I mean, you now legalized an industry that the black market. That's the thing about when you make something illegal. All you've done is create a black market for it. You want to end crime, make less stuff illegal. I mean, if there's no victim, there shouldn't be no crime. There's no victim between two adults consenting to exchanging money for sex. There's no victim there. I'm not a proponent of it. I'm a Christian. I don't believe prostitution is morally acceptable. But there's a difference between morally acceptable and legally acceptable. I would prefer if people would have the right to choose to not participate in prostitution because they want to glorify God and because they're followers of Christ, not because they're followers of the law. You understand what I mean? The same thing with anything else. So I think I covered. That was a lot, all in one shot. I think I got most of what I wanted out about. And the other thing, if you did these things, if you made the immigration system, I mean, my thing was when I was campaigning was, it takes 2 hours to do a background check to check somebody for a gun. To buy a gun, it should be the same process to check somebody to come across the border. You know what I mean? 2-hour background check. Here's your visa. Go to work. And it could be that simple. You know, and if you think about it, if you ended the war on drugs, you would have less people trying to. I'm not saying you would stop people from smuggling drugs across the border or human trafficking, or child trafficking is another one. But if you think about it, if you don't have our border patrol and customs agents looking for every vehicle for drugs and stuff, the stuff that they could pay attention to, like child trafficking and the really serious, the stuff that does have victims, the eyes on stuff. If you would really know if you simplified the immigration system to where it was easier for people to just come across and go to work and find a better life for their families, which is honestly what most of them want to do, and you ended the incentive to smuggle drugs across the border or to smuggle prostitutes across the border, then you would have more eyes on the border looking for what would be criminals. Because if it was that easy to come across the border, anybody that was coming across the border illegally was guaranteed to be a terrorist or smuggling children or something of a serious nature, serious crime nature, and you would have more eyes looking for those things, and it would be obvious. If you were coming across illegally at that point, then you were probably not on the right side of the real law. So yeah, it's I think that's it. So yeah, just a real quick process, man, to come over here and go to work. Let me catch up on chat. I'll tell you the little Twitter thing with the PMs and stuff. Yeah, it's a bunch of ridiculousness between Drama and one of his buddies. So I won't be addressing that. You can just look at Drama's history to tell what kind of a troll he is, and I don't need to address that at all. So. Leaked the Evolve's number. Why would I do that? I did notice it's shut off though. It's no longer in service or whatever. So I think it is funny that Evolve's phone number got leaked. That's a lot of effort. I bet you he's probably puffing his chest. Man, somebody went on the black web or dark web or whatever it's called and paid for my phone number. He's probably proud of that. $640 voicemails in an hour? Really? Wonder what they said. Eminem sucks. Large Jamar rules. I don't know. My phone number, I just put it on the screen. I mean, you guys don't have to steal it. It's, let me see if I can find it. Oh, that's not it. Where is my phone number? There it is. There you go. Hey, Bruno's, what's up, man? Yeah, this is for you guys. This is for you guys. For my India audience. I know it's getting late. It's like, about 7:30 p.m. there now. We actually watched a movie that was based in India the other day. We didn't watch all of it. We just watched, like, the first segment. It was called Three Smoking Barrels on Netflix. I have no idea. My wife just put this thing on, and the first part of it was we watched. It's like 3 little short stories, but the first part of it is this guy just driving across the country with this girl who escaped a terrorist camp, like she was being trained as a terrorist, and they, the guy and the little girl, like get a connection or whatever as they're driving across the country, and she has a gun, but it doesn't have any bullets in it and stuff. The guy smokes a lot. But I liked it because it's just driving across. I mean, you see how beautiful that country is. It's gorgeous. A little small roads and stuff, and it's really really cool. And then the next one was about some death metal band or something, and we didn't watch that one. So. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, it's this is my European show, so or for anybody that's living over there. I doubt that there's anybody in the hospital. I doubt it, but if there is, then I hope he gets better soon. I'll pray for him. I pray for all y'all anyway, so. What is going on? Interesting. No, I didn't call his depression a liar. Here's the facts. The facts is this guy's been playing games with me for about 2 or 3 weeks, trying to get me to talk about Evolve's personal life, and I don't talk about Evolve's personal life. So I've been playing a little political game with him. You try to get something out of me, and then I dodge the topic. It's been kind of fun, just dodging the topic, and everything. He'd be like, hey, isn't that crazy what happened with Evolve? And I'd be like, yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happens with Evolve. What are you talking about? Oh, you know what I'm talking about, that thing that happened with Evolve. I'm like, oh, no, I don't. So just stuff like that. I've been going on for like 2 weeks, a bunch of topics and stuff. And then he's like, oh yeah, I called him, and he might be the guy who hacked Evolve's number, because he had the number. So he showed me the number. He's like, yeah, I called Evolve at this number, and he gave me the green light to talk to you about this stuff. And I'm like, oh, he did he? I was like, so Evolve told you that you could talk to me about this stuff? And he's like, yeah, he gave me the green light. And I'm like, well, now you're a liar, because I absolutely know that he did not give you the green light to talk to you about anything. So now I know you're lying to me. And I'll just assume that everything else that you said was a lie as well, which he tried to use depression and all this other stuff, which really offends me, because I've had soldiers and friends that have died, committed suicide, or who suffer from depression horribly. I mean, that's one of why I'm such an advocate for legalization of medical marijuana, especially at the federal level, so that the VA can use it, and that my brothers and sisters in arms who are suffering from depression can use it to help with their depression, instead of these dangerous opioids and antidepressive drugs and stuff that they want to shove down their throats. If you can just use a plant to feel better, then why would you take some nasty drugs and stuff? So that really offended me. Not that you guys care about that, but that was my whole reason for putting that out. So with that said, that's the last I'm saying about it. What's up, guys?
We saw a roach, maybe.
You saw what?
A little, roach, it's in the aquarium.
Oh, you guys need to stop eating in there.
We aren't.
They're attracted to food, and you need to clean it up. You need to take 1,000 of those toys that you don't ever play with in there, and you need to put them in a box so you can give them to charity. Because you don't play with them, but there's some little boys that would love to play with them somewhere else. Where's your glasses?
Remember, Gabe broke them.
Oh, then your mom didn't fix them?
Not yet. She at school broke.
Oh, your mom turned them in to get fixed. So, yeah.
They said next week they said on Monday gonna get them back. Well, anyways, I don't need my glasses for...
Because one of the reasons why I know, because he showed us a picture, and the picture that he showed us came off of the Harvard website, which obviously was not him, but then he wanted to claim that it was him, and that, you know, I was like, oh, well, you should do something about that. And yeah, it's just a bunch of games, people. You're allowing them to play games with you. You're giving them a free ride in your mind over a bunch of lies and nonsense. So, you know, carry on with it if you want. But hey, with that said, if y'all don't have any serious questions, I'm going to go ahead and cut this done. So, hey, I'm sorry, Brunos, but I guess there's no intelligent conversation to be had here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get going. You know, because I got other stuff to do. I got to get somehow. I need to figure out how to use MailChimp. If anybody's used MailChimp and has a good, you know, maybe I'll just Google and look up a YouTube thing on how to use it. But I'm not going to entertain trolls. So I love y'all. Peace out. And love your neighbor. Have a good one.